What's up guys, TheRelaxingEnd here, and since I can't bring you guys Black Ops 3 gameplay this year, I'm gonna bring you at least this one time Call of Duty 3 gameplay. The Call of Duty from 2006, so 8 years ago this was the thing, besides Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2 and a bunch of other games as well. But okay, Call of Duty 3 is widely considered to be one of the worst Call of Duties probably ever made. Probably Black Ops Declassified is way worse than this, but it is for PS Vita. And some say Call of Duty Ghosts is the worst, but anyway, we all have our favorites, we all have our not so favorites. We can agree or disagree on this, but a lot of people still claim that Call of Duty 3 was one of the most unfinished Call of Duties there is or has ever been. And since we got this news now from Sledgehammer Games that they will be making the next Call of Duty and not Treyarch, so Treyarch will wait another year to finish their product, I wanted to take a look back at their first Call of Duty and see kind of like, I don't know what went wrong here, although I don't think that a lot of things went wrong here. This is really a potential game, and when I went to play it I was surprised. As you can see in the beginning, this game actually supports 24-player multiplayer servers, which is twice as much as Call of Duty Ghost on the Xbox 360 and PS3, and this was released 7 years before Call of Duty Ghost, so it has twice as many players on servers. If you go to private matches, you can have 48 players, which is just insane. It's like you're playing Battlefield, but you're just playing Call of Duty. And much like this is like Battlefield in general, there are a lot of things that are similar to, I mean, a lot of elements that could be from Battlefield. For example, this game has a lot of vehicles, well, at least a couple of them. For example, the motorcycle, it has the army truck, the tank. So at this time Call of Duty actually still had vehicles, although it doesn't have destructible environment, but I still think it's pretty good job from Treyarch to bring vehicles in such game that has even such big servers as 24 players up to. So this game is a great example of something that has good potential in being a great Call of Duty, but was rushed. So that brings us to the reason why Black Ops 3 will be, I guess you could say, delayed, although I wouldn't say it's delayed because they never meant to release it this year in the first place. Probably this has been clear for a long time to the employees of Treyarch and Sledgehammer, that who will be making the next CoD, so for them it's no surprise, but for some of us it may be a big surprise. But the reason being probably is because of next gen, and now more than ever they need to produce the biggest and best Call of Duties they possibly can as a company to let the brand still live on over next gen. And why Call of Duty 3 is a great example of how a rushed game can look like. Well, yeah, it's a great game, but has a lot of bugs, a lot of maybe unbalanced things. The campaign isn't really that great, although you may argue that is Call of Duty campaign ever so great, but especially in Call of Duty 3 I really think the campaign was a bit half-assed and really done quickly, you can tell it. But the multiplayer has great potential, and if they only had the time to develop this game in peace, maybe in that case this would have been a Call of Duty considered to be a classic these days. It could have been the definitive World War II Call of Duty. But they went to make World at War, which later became maybe not so critically acclaimed game, but definitely a fan favorite Call of Duty. So Not so many people anymore remember Call of Duty 3, also because of the fact that I don't think this game was ever released for PS3 or PC. At least I haven't heard that there's any version. So as far as I know, this game was only released for Xbox 360 and maybe for Nintendo Wii. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I didn't really do any research before the video, but at least I've heard that it's for Nintendo Wii and 360. So that brings me back to the question of what do I think of Treyarch's next Call of Duty, and that the fact that Sledgehammer will be making this year's Call of Duty. Well, my first reaction to it was that thank God, definitely a good thing for Call of Duty. A lot of people's first reactions were like, they were really disappointed that we don't get zombies this year, new zombies maps from Treyarch, or new multiplayer. Sure, I agree, but would we really want something that they needed to rush? Because, well, I'm not saying Black Ops 2 was rushed, but if you take a look at Transit, for example, that's an example of map that could have been done a lot better. Although it's a nice map, it has a lot of potential, a lot of cool things to add to zombies, such as banking system. They had buildables in Transit, they had the turbine, they had a huge map, but still there was something missing. The map design wasn't maybe all that great. Maybe if they had one extra year, or maybe just extra 6 months to develop Transit, it could have been what we consider a classic nowadays, but instead it became something of an example of a map among a lot of the fans that wasn't all that enjoyable in the end. Although I did enjoy Transit, but only for a limited time. So that's why I think it's a great news that Treyarch won't be making this year's Call of Duty, and that they had that one extra year to develop their so-called next-gen debut, although it's really current-gen as we know it now. But they are going to need some extra time with current-gen, especially if they are going to make, let's say, Wii U version, they're going to make 360 version, PS3, they're going to make PC, probably not the original Wii, then they're gonna make PS4, Xbox One. That's like at least 6 platforms we can assume the game could be on if they decide to make the previous gen version as well. So if you think about it, Treyarch is a big company nowadays, but is it really that big company to make 6 different, well, 6 of the same versions, but 6 kind of like versions where they need to adapt certain things to that specific platform. So yeah, I think making all those versions will take time, not to mention that they need to top their last game, which was Black Ops 2. And Black Ops 2 is a pretty solid game, although a lot of people may argue with me on this one, but I think Black Ops 2 was a great game. It was quite finished product, and it's gonna be hard to top that in the same amount of time with all these current gen pressures that they have if they would make it in the same time. So it's understandable. The companies nowadays, they need more time to make these games than ever before, because they need to top their previous product. They need to meet the competition, which is the other first-person shooters. Although Call of Duty doesn't really have that much competition in the exact thing they're doing, but there will be Titanfall released soon. There's still going to be Battlefield, a bunch of other first-person shooters, so they need to top their competition as well, or at least make their product seem really interesting for the people who are only going to buy 1 or 2 games or 1 or 2 first-person shooters in general. So they need to make the product appealing to the masses. So Call of Duty 3 gameplay, and as a summary, I think it's great news, although it's a little bit sad we don't get zombies this year, but we still have the old zombies maps, and we have custom zombies, and even maybe the robot zombies if it's coming to West at one point. Plus the Sledgehammer Call of Duty, we don't know a thing about it yet, so who knows, maybe even Sledgehammer Call of Duty may have some kind of zombie mode. As far as I know, I could be wrong, correct me in the comments once again if I'm wrong, but I think Sledgehammer was the company that made Call of Duty Online, the robot zombie thing. So maybe they will have now, they have maybe survival mode, Spec Ops, and Chinese zombies in their new Call of Duty. Who knows? This could be the case. I'm not saying it is. Don't quote on me on this, but we don't know a thing about their game, so let's not at least be disappointed in it before we know a single fact about it, other than that Sledgehammer is the company making it. So yeah, that's all I got to say for now about this subject. If you want to hear more about it, I often talk about this in my live streams at twitch.tv/relaxingstream, and it's an interesting topic, but I still want some facts from the next gen games. So far, only fact that we got is the developer, which is a beginning. So yeah, this was Call of Duty 3. The game type you see right here is free for all, although I'm not sure if it was called free for all, because I only went to something called player match, and this is where it put me in. And this house where I am, it was really nice, I would say, holding spot, and I got a lot of kills here. All in all, I enjoyed playing Call of Duty 3, which with all its flaws, this was a blast of a game. So hope you guys enjoyed this longer commentary, and see you in the next video.